Alright, if you can stay still just a little bit longer, I'm almost done with this last part. And done. What do you think? Maybe not, but I think it came out pretty good too. Do you think I should do one of your brother Sans?
I see what you did there. Happy might not like these puns, but that's okay. Whatever floats his boat. Aw, too bad. We wanted to come here to celebrate his success.
Hello everyone, my name is S Comic Maker and welcome back to my channel. We're going to be doing a super awesome painting of Sans from Undertale today that I've been wanting to work on for forever. Let's start by quickly jumping into the supplies. For this painting, I used a paint palette lined with some wax paper, but anything you normally use to mix your paint is fine. A mix between Master's Touch and Liquitex Basics acrylic paint. Obviously, some paint brushes and a cup of water. Some Arches watercolor paper, but honestly, I've had this paper for so long I'm not sure if it's cold pressed or not, so apologies on that. A Crayola colored pencil for sketching, and acrylic glazing liquid. If you've been with me long enough, or perused my other videos, you've probably come across a couple Undertale or Deltarune videos and have heard about my husband's love of the series. I have drawn many pieces of art related to the games in the last couple of years, but one of my favorites was a painting I did for my husband's birthday in 2017 of his favorite skeleton boy, Papyrus. Considering Papyrus's outfit, I thought that it would be a really cool painting if I painted him in a military outfit, much like old paintings of generals or commanders or whatever. So I looked up general paintings and compiled some reference and painted this Papyrus, with his classic Papyrus expression, and added the Toriel crest on the red coat and a heart locket attached to his collar to kind of bring it all back to Undertale. I enjoyed working on this immensely, and ever since then I've wanted to make a partner picture for this one with Sans, but considering how long it takes to paint stuff like this, I just never got around to it. But finally, the itch was too strong, and 3 years later, I'm finally going for it. Gosh, has it really been 3 years already? What the heck? So going into this piece, I knew I wanted it to feel the same as the Papyrus one, but I didn't think that Sans would be a general, so when I tried to think of something that would match his blue scheme, I thought it would be awesome to have a sea captain Sans. So I searched the internet for portraits of sea captains, and they were all these round-faced boyos with beards that reminded me a lot of Sans' face shape, especially when it came to the white beard and white hat combo. Then I started working on the sketch. The way I went about this was actually kind of combining a bunch of my searched images together. So while I was painting, I flipped back and forth between this image of a guy dressed as a sailor and this skull. The lighting was similar enough or in the same kind of direction that I was able to kind of combine the two. I also kept the original Papyrus painting nearby to make sure that I kept to a similar painting style because I wanted to be able to hang these two together in my house at some point. Then I also had some of the other captain paintings handy too to kind of get the same portrait style there as well, especially making sure that I had the ship wheel in the right place and all that. I'll get into the nerdy Undertale details in a moment, but first I wanted to get into the painting process a little bit. When I made the Papyrus painting forever ago, I ended up going out and buying acrylic paint because it was cheaper for me to invest in at the time, and instead of replacing the old oil paints I normally use through my college career, I thought this might be better. Plus, since it was a surprise, I was actually going out and working with a friend on this painting, and so while I was with my friend friend, I didn't want to subject her to the fumes that I would be emitting with the oil painting mediums I typically use. But I was nervous because if you've seen my painting video where I talk about the time when my art teacher yelled at me in front of her whole class, I'll leave an iCard here for that if you want to see it. I've never really been confident with acrylic paint. I know there are things that you can mix to make them more workable, but typically I found that the paint dried way too fast for me to be able to get a good use out of it, and I like to work in thinner washes and build up color similarly to the way I use watercolors. So I completely understand that there's just a learning curve and I just needed to learn how to use acrylic paint, but at the time it was very intimidating for me. But I dived into that papyrus painting and tried to go about it in thinner layers of paint that are watered down and mixed with some medium, and I ended up really enjoying the process, which I have since used for other paintings. So for this painting of sands, I mixed my colors, added some water and acrylic glazing liquid, and did thinner layers of paint to build up the painting, and I really ended up liking the results. And Tony really liked it too when I gave it to him. But since then it's been sitting in a frame all by its lonesome. Papyrus has been waiting for his brother for so long, so I'm really glad that I'm working on this one today. Alright, now for the most fun part of compiling something like this together. For me, it's trying to figure out some of the details I wanted to add to it to give a nod to the Undertale series. From the very beginning, I wanted these paintings to just seem like cool skeleton pieces to the average viewer, but fun and recognizable for fans of Undertale. I tried to make the skull a little closer to Sans' skull shape by making it wider, and add his smile while still keeping it realistic looking, but I'm not so sure I succeeded in that. But anyway, as far as the details, for Sans I wanted to find another way to incorporate Toriel's crest, so I went with making it similar to some of the patches that I saw on the captain's hats, like this one. So I went with making it gold so that it would pop against the dark blue, and accented it with gold buttons as well. But even in the drawing process, I felt like something was missing, and I wanted to somehow incorporate a heart similar to how I clipped a heart to Papyrus's collar in the first painting. So I noticed that some of the captain's hats had like a filigree on it in gold as well, and I knew exactly what I was going to do, especially since I also added some embellishments like that onto Papyrus's collar. So I started by sketching out a design on my iPad and centered a heart in the front of the hat's visor. I added some swirly details and then roughly painted 2 Gaster blasters onto the hat, one on each side. I wanted it to be messy enough to not be recognizable as anything from a normal viewer, but once again, fans would get the idea. It was so hard painting those details, and they aren't perfect, but I'm kinda cool with how they came out. Going back into Toriel's crest, I ended up making it look more like a golden pin than a patch in the end, because I thought it would be fun to try to paint it that way. Although I kind of wish that I had added a shadow behind the pin to kind of make it stand out a little bit more. So even though it's not in this video, I'll probably like tweak it a little bit when I get the chance. I was going to paint Toby Fox's name, one for each letter in the buttons, and if you don't know, Toby is the creator of Undertale, but I was going to use Wingding's font on the buttons since there are 4, but the details were just too small even with the smallest brush that I have. I was having the hardest time trying to get those tiny details in there, so I decided against it. But that is it for this painting. What do you guys think of this one? It made me want to draw a cartoon version similar to how they actually look, but in these outfits. Let me know if that's something you would like to see from me in the comments down below. I had such a fun time working on this. My favorite part about making content online is sitting down and just plucking away at a piece of art. Based on the footage I have, this painting took me a little over 4 hours to complete, and I loved absolutely every second of it. While the blue flame in his eye isn't as realistic as it could be, I think that the effect came out pretty cool anyway, and overall I think that it actually is a pretty big improvement from the first papyrus painting that I did. So I really hope that you like it. Speaking of liking stuff, if you enjoyed the amazing Megalovania Drunken Sailor remix sprinkled throughout the video, it was made by the amazing Nathan S, who let me use it for this video. As soon as Tony and I heard this one, I was like, oh my god, it's perfect, I need it in this video, I need it in my life. So I'll leave a link to his channel where you can listen to it, as well as his social media in the description down below. But as Comic Baker, when are you going to paint the realistic portrait of me? I'm sure because I'm so amazing that it would get an incredible amount of views. Yeah, Banana Man, I'm sure it will. We'll have to do that sometime. You sound skeptical, but I'm going to chalk that up to just being absolutely flabbergasted by my incredible idea. You're so right, Banana Man. You genius, you. Well, I'm going to go think about some other amazing ideas and let you get back to this. But you keep that idea swimming in your brain for now. Right. Huh. Oh, by the way, did you guys notice the little Easter egg that I didn't talk about in this picture? If you haven't, I did end up adding... Anyway, thank you so much to my amazing patrons for making videos like this possible, and thank you to all of you guys for liking, commenting on, and sharing my videos. I appreciate you all stopping by, and I hope that we can draw together again soon. Bye guys.